Healthcare still very much on President Trump's mind. He tweeted about it a lot this weekend, threatening to cut subsidies to Congress and insurance companies, saying, quote, if a new health care bill is not approved quickly, bailouts for insurance companies and bailouts for members of Congress will end very soon. Joining us now is Republican Congresswoman Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee. Thanks for being here in studio.
Sure. Good to be with you.
Are you getting a bailout from the federal government?
No, all members of Congress are on the Affordable Care Act. We're all on the D.C. Small Business Exchange. And as the federal government has done, they provide a portion of insurance as a benefit to employees.
Right. The president doesn't like those for members of Congress.
That's right. And so many of our employees, even those that are in our districts, Alisyn, are on the D.C. Exchange. And one of the things we tell people all the time, we know firsthand the problems with health care. And we think that the Senate needs to get to work and send the House a bill so that we can get this fixed.
And let's talk about that. But just one last thing, because the president seems fixated on this. What if those subsidies went away? I mean, look, he's threatening to cut the subsidies that he give the cost sharing, okay, with insurance companies that go to low-income Americans. So that's one of the threats. And then the other threat is the subsidies that,
and the subsidies
Congress gets.
That go to the insurance companies are there. It's called the risk corridors. And this is one of the reasons that we have to fix this. I hear from people all the time about the cost of insurance. And when you look at the $9 million in the Affordable Care Act marketplace, only 1.6 million Americans buy this insurance product without a subsidy.
Yeah, so I guess
all the rest of those, and that is why the president keeps saying, you know, we need to look at those subsidies, but it's why we keep saying this has to be fixed. The insurance is too expensive to afford.
Right.
And when you're talking about only 1.6 million Americans buying a product without a subsidy, you see how expensive it is.
Yeah, I hear you. But my question is, what if he takes it away?
If he takes it away, then Congress will be forced to take an action and try to clean this up. I don't know what it would be, but there would be an action necessary to clean it up. You cannot afford this insurance. 19 million Americans opted themselves out of the system. 6.5 million chose to pay the penalty, and then you had another 12 that went in there and said, look, I'm going to seek an exemption for this.
Yeah.
So you've already got that 19 million that opted out.
But do you get the impression that President Trump is looking to speed the demise of the Affordable Care Act as he sees it by withdrawing those cost-sharing subsidies?
President Trump, I believe, is looking to solve the problem. And the problem is we've got the Senate who cannot seem to, you know, they like to work in gangs. So they've been the gang of 7 and 8. I want the gang of 51. I want the Senate to show some spine and fix this problem.
That seems to be impossible. I mean, what you're calling for, they are not all of one mind. Obviously, they've tried for 7 years.
51 of them need to make a decision that they're going to fulfill a promise to the American people and send the House a bill so that we can get this issue resolved. It's not fair to anybody, Alisyn. I had a telephone town hall last week. 80% of the people on that town hall, regardless of what side of the issue they were on with the Affordable Care Act, 80% said the Senate needed to pass a bill and send it to the House so we can fix this.
I understand, but I mean, their 7-year effort of trying to repeal and replace came to an end last week. There was no consensus. You can't get all 51 that you're calling for to all agree on what the way forward is. So now what?
You know, they're going to have to just do a process of sitting down, working through where they can get this gang of 51 to agree on something, send it to the House, so that we can fulfill a promise and be fair to the American people that are stuck in the Affordable Care Act system, or who have insurance that is too expensive to use and deductibles too high to even seek access to care.
Very quickly, I want to ask you about Russia.
Yeah.
How would you like President Trump to respond to Vladimir Putin now that Putin is cutting U.S. diplomatic staff by 755 people.
I want him to continue to be firm with Russia. Sending in the 59 Tomahawk missiles in that Syrian attack was the appropriate thing to do. Doing the sanctions bill was an appropriate move for Congress, and President Trump needs to basically have Congress's back, if you will, on the sanctions and be very firm with Russia.
Got it. Congresswoman Marsha Blackburn, thanks so much
So
for
good to be
being
with
here.
you.
Great to
Good to
have you
see
in
you.
studio.
Thanks.
Let's get over to John.
All right, Alisyn.